Welcome to ICAST. I'm Joey. This is Tackle Warehouse first look at ICAST. We're here first morning in the Berkley booth, and we're here with Nathan. Nathan, you are the brand manager for Berkley Bass, and we have a huge new lineup of brand new spinnerbaits from Berkley. So glad to have you. Welcome to the First Look show.
Oh yeah, man, excited to be here. Like you said, this is the new Berkley Power Blade spinnerbait. It is huge. We've got 248 different SKUs, ranging out of 2 series, compacts, and the standard. These were designed in tandem with Edwin Evers. We worked really hard with him, all the guys at the Berkley labs, to bring a spinnerbait to the market that we feel surpasses everything out there. Whether it's the custom blades, the power bait scented skirt, hand-tied, Fusion 19 hook, or the premium componentry, we really took our time in development to again bring a spinnerbait that every fisherman is going to have for whatever watercolor, species they're going after. Every scenario we could think of, we have a spinnerbait for.
Yeah, I can attest to the breadth of this lineup because I set these up in the system to buy them. So really, you guys have everything covered, like you said, from the compact, more finesse stuff to big single Colorado blades, painted blades. Tell us a little bit about some of the specialty blades, and also the skirting's really important here, right?
Right, yep. So like you said, specialty blades, we know that we needed to come out with a spinnerbait that had a blade that was going to turn at slow speeds. So when you're looking at the single Colorados, we're turning as soon as you engage that reel, you're going to feel that blade thumping on the end of the line. On the other side, we needed blades that weren't going to blow out on like your double willows, specifically in the compact. So again, these are totally custom designed blades. As far as the finish and cosmetics go, we did paint some SKUs like this one here. We know smallmouth guys up north, some things like a coleslaw painted, double white painted, those come in handy. So again, really looking at making sure the right bait is in play at the right time on the right lakes. Going back to the skirt, power bait skirt, yes, but we also have a lot of attention to detail here, like the tinsel in our herring.
Yeah.
You'll see that show up in this color, golden shiner, really just trying to take finish to the next level.
Absolutely. I'm noticing not just splatter paint on some of the heads here, but on some of the blades, on some of the painted blades.
Yep.
Just a phenomenal job on the hook, or I'm sorry, on the skirting there. It's a tied skirt, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yep.
And something we mentioned before we started the interview, I mean, just a gaff of a hook in there. Something for me is very important. I'm often really happy with a spinnerbait, except for the hook size.
Right, yeah, let's talk about that. So especially in a compact where if you have that weight hidden behind the head, you barely have any hook gap left, especially if you want to put a trailer on it. We extended the shank of this hook for 2 reasons. First and foremost being we're trying to eliminate the need for a trailer hook. We know that mentally we got feedback from some anglers that when they put a trailer hook on their spinnerbait, they feel like they can't put it up in the stuff where it needs to be, right? So we extended the hook. We even sunk a tree in our lab at Spear Lake to dial in the length of that hook shank so that it's not so long that you're hanging up, but it's not so short that you feel the need for a trailer hook. When you hook them, I mean, it comes out of their cheek, it's back in their head.
They're coming in the boat.
Yeah, we say it's a gaff, but it's a Fusion 19 O'Shaughnessy style. But again, we wanted to eliminate the need for a trail hook so anglers can put this spinnerbait where it needs to be.
Sure. Yeah, really just a beautiful new lineup of spinnerbaits. Anything you're going to need for any situation. Nathan, thanks so much for taking us through this brand new line. These are the new Berkley Power Blade.
Correct.
Berkley Power Blade spinnerbaits from Berkley, available to pre-order now on tacklewarehouse.com. Thank you so much for taking us through that, Nathan. We really appreciate it. And on to the next one. And up next, we've got Mr. David Fritz, king of the crankbait, and we're here to talk about a brand new crank. Well, kind of a brand new crank, a take on what is already an instant classic. This is the brand new Berkley Clickin Frittside, isn't that right?
That's right. I mean, we went to work and we thought, we'd give our customers an option. And the Frittside has been one of the, I don't know, the hottest crankbait out there. I mean, it has to be because we can't make them fast enough. And it's sort of a no-brainer. You throw it out there, you wind it back in, and a fish bites it. It don't have to hit the bottom. It don't have to touch anything. It's really a no-brainer. So we actually took that concept and made it a little bit better. We've done a little modification. It doesn't have a loud click, but we wanted something to sound like a crawfish, to get that little bit extra clicking noise in it. That's why we call it the clicker. But anyway, it's going to be a tremendous success because it makes a little noise, especially certain areas of the country where fish are feeding on crawdads, because our baits, the Frittside is a crawdad acting bait. Our bigger ones, the 9 and the 7, is a little bit different, more of a shad, but I think the clicker is going to enhance all of them, the whole lineup.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, they can't make the original fast enough right now. And just pouring fuel on the fire here with the new Clickin Frittside. Really, I think this bait is a lot of people's secret. My tournament partner is going to be mad for me saying that, but this is a bait I think that's shown a lot of people that a flat-sided crankbait is not a 3-month-of-the-year bait. Isn't that right?
This is very true. The Frittside is just, there's nothing else like it. That's the thing. There's nothing out there. You can see dozens of other flat sides, and there's just nothing like it. It has an action of its own. And yes, fish will come out of 20 foot of water to bite it. So, you can take a bait that's running 4 or 5 foot deep and catch fish in 20, 25 feet of water. It's amazing. And that's what has set it aside as the best bait you can buy.
It's a great crankbait, available not just in the standard Fritz colors, but a couple new additions. We were just talking some ones we're excited about, especially this Ghost Red Craw.
Yeah, this thing, we've been trying to get this out for 2 years, and with production issues and getting it out, but man alive, if you live in the South, if you live in the North, or even in the middle of the country, you're going to want some of these.
How about the West?
Yeah, the West.
Yeah,
too.
You bet.
Yeah, I mean, anywhere. It's just, this is more of a ruby color, and the red has been probably the #1 seller. There's actually 5 or 6 of them that's #1 sellers, but this red is definitely going to be on top of the list.
Yeah, that's definitely a must-have. Now you talked a little bit about the fact that it's got some sound added in. Where are you going to put this into play compared to the standard Frittside?
Well, it's like anything else. When it gets thrown a lot and it gets fished a lot, sometimes fish tend to get accustomed to it, and it's going to be the clicker can add a lot to that, and it's going to be one of those baits that you tie on, especially because it's new. They hadn't seen one that makes sound, and I think our sound matches what or imitates exactly what a crawfish is, because it's not a loud sound. It's just a little bit of a clicking sound. It's soft, and I think it's going to be. I think it's a big addition. And it's going to be one of those baits where, you're going to need your regular Frittside tied on, and you're going to need a Clickin Frittside tied on. And especially if you're like around a lot of fish and you're throwing and you're catching them every cast, and they sort of, you think you've caught them all. Well, try your little Clickin Frittside in there and see what happens.
When the master of crankbait fishing talks, you listen. You bet I'm listening. This new Clickin Frittside is available in the entire size lineup: the 5 Junior, the 5, the 5 Biggin, the 7, and the 9, right, to cover all your sizes and depth ranges there. And it's available for pre-order now on Tackle Warehouse. Anything else you'd like to say about this great new bait before we sign off?
Well, Tackle Warehouse better have some, because I even call Tackle Warehouse. They say, well, it's going to be a couple weeks. But that's just because we can't ship them fast enough. We can't make them fast enough. But, man, what a fantastic bait. And there's one thing about it. your best bet is the Call Tackle Warehouse.
We really appreciate that. Thanks so much. We're really excited about this bait. I know you're really excited. You can pre-order that now on the site on tacklewarehouse.com. Thanks so much for your time, and we're moving on. We're still in the Berkley booth with Mr. Justin Lucas, who we've kept waiting for almost an hour, and if he punches me in the face in an interview, man, those ratings are gonna be great. But we're not here to talk about punching me in the face. We're here to talk about punching bass in the face.
Sure, man.
With
Sure.
the new Berkley Money Badger crankbait. Can you tell us all about this great new crankbait?
Yeah, so this crankbait comes in 5 different sizes. The 2 smallest ones are really, I wouldn't say what we're focused on towards bass. It'd be the 3 bigger ones. But you can see the 3 bigger sizes here. And this is a crawdad style crankbait is what I would call it, right? So this is made for your highland reservoirs to really imitate that crawdad in those cold winter months, you know, in pre-spawn type of days or months, whatever you want to talk about, season. You can see the color here. This is like a ghost green craw. We have a ghost red, and then just some other nice crawdad colors that you're going to be throwing in those situations. What I like is that it's actually got a tungsten weight transfer in there, so I don't know if you guys can see that on camera or not, but when that thing clicks to the back of the tail, you can throw this thing a mile, and then it's going to fall back into position. And this bait is going to sit or run, not sit, but run at an angle like that, like a 45-degree angle almost. And what that does is really nice is when you're going down those rocky banks, that lip is going to deflect off of everything, kind of keep the hooks up and away from the bottom and really make it look like a crawdad scooting across the bottom. So it's a phenomenal bait. We've had a chance to play with it over the last year, and just like the Frittside, I think this is going to be a big player on these cold highland reservoirs. You know, and it'll have other times than that too, but that's the main focus with the new Money Badger.
So tell us a little bit about the action of this crankbait specifically, because when we think cold water, a lot of times we think a very narrow action, a very tight wiggle. But there's the huge exception in these crankbait style, or in these crawdad style crankbaits. Why does that work so well in cold water, and why does everyone have one tied on? What's inside the bass's head here?
I really don't know. I'm not going to play dumb on that one and act like I do know. All we know is that all we do know is that that style and type of shape and action certainly works, you know, in the cold weather. And yeah, you would always think, oh, you know, by the book, it has to be flat-sided or whatever, you know, that's what you're told. But we also see it in the Frittside, you know, it's a flat-sided crankbait that catches them all summer long in the heat. So I think a lot of times you can't go by the book, and especially anymore with more and more people fishing, I think going by the book is kind of not the right thing anymore. You know, we got to show them new things, but this is something that's been around for a long time, and it's got that real wide hunting action. And when that thing does that down in the rocks, you know, at a table rock or, you know, even back home where I grew up, Folsom, something like that, any of those clear lakes like that, rocky lakes, this type of bait is just phenomenal.
Breaking the rules with the Money Badger, a couple of different sizes, some great colors. Just give
Fusion hooks.
Fusion
Always.
19 hooks.
If you guys have been throwing any Berkley stuff, you know how sharp those hooks are, and they are incredible. So, of course, it's got fusions on it.
I have pulled one out of my tournament partner's arm.
Yeah, I have only so far put one past the barb in me, but I've heard of several people. Actually, one of my favorite things to do is get and read reviews on Chopos, and people are posting them in their arms and hands and everything. You know, it's really nice now here at Berkley that we don't even have to think about changing the you know, the hooks on a hard bait. When it comes out of the package, it's ready to be fished.
Personally, as a lazy person, I appreciate that a lot.
Me too.
Me
too.
Just give us a real quick 15-second rundown on rod, reel, line for this cold weather cranking with the new Money Badger.
Yeah, so I really like our Veritas PLX 7.6 moderate. You know, it's like a medium heavy, but it's built for crankbaits. It's a winch style rod, and then I would throw it on a winch, you know, 5-4-1 with 10-pound trilene fluorocarbon. That's all you need.
Great. Thanks so much for taking us through that. That's the new Berkley Money Badger crankbait, available for pre-order now on tacklewarehouse.com. And up next, we got something that I know every Berkley pro has been clamoring for, really excited about, something that's going to find a hell of a home on tour. tell us what's coming up next.
I would agree with that. Well, this is the Slobberknocker. Everybody's been starting to hear about it. And I want to tell you guys first, we got a vlog coming out, or we have a vlog coming out with Tackle Warehouse where we caught the crap out of them on this thing at Lake Gunnersville. And you know how pressured that place is with any type of vibrating jig. So you guys make sure to keep an eye on that. It's coming out very soon now that these are going to be available on Tackle Warehouse. So.
Oh, go! No!
What are you guys?
Whoa!
Oh, a Joey sandwich. Ooh.
Are you guys talking about the Slobberknocker?
Yeah.
Hey, a man that needs no introduction, but we'll introduce him anyway. Mr. John Cox, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on here.
So, I was trying to have a nice, quiet interview with Justin Lucas about the new Slobberknocker and Power Stinger, but you had to butt your way in.
I am so sorry. That is like one of my new favorite baits. By far, it's the most weedless bladed jig I've used so far. Coming through the weeds, caught a ton of big fish on it, and man, it's just got this different sound that they haven't heard, I feel like, and I've caught a ton of fish on it, and man, I don't know about you, but the power bait cooked into the skirt, I mean, that's, to me, that's just, it's a game changer now.
Yeah, John, he's a mega scent guy. We all are here at Berkley, but I know John, he's all about that scent, and I am too, and I love the fact that we do have a hand-tight skirt on this thing. A big thing for me too is the bait keeper that's on there. It's going to hold that power stinger on really well. You guys can see in that vlog that we talked about how many fish we were able to catch on one bait, or one trailer threaded on here. And then of course we talked about fusion hooks with the Money Badger, but we have another nice beefy fusion hook. I think it's a 4/0 size, and it's just perfect. When you thread that power stinger on there, I think it's a 3.5 and a 4-inch or 4 1/4. But they're both, fit this perfectly. So you can give it a bigger, bulkier size if you want, or also if you're around smaller bait fish, put on that smaller one, and it's going to fit even with the same hook on there. And I love that. So yeah, it's awesome. I know John's been throwing it a lot around cover and stuff too. And like you said, weedless. What's the biggest one you caught on it so far, John?
I think I got one that's almost 8. It was a pretty solid one. It was.
Yeah.
It was pretty good one. I took a lot of pictures of it. Yeah.
Most people's PBs aren't even 7.
Yeah.
And he's like, just started throwing it, caught an 8.
Yeah.
So, John, I noticed this has a really interesting line tie on the head. Can you tell us about the line tie? Or I'm sorry, not the line tie, the blade connection.
Oh, yeah.
The blade connection to the head.
So,
tell us about that and how that incorporates not just with the sound but the action of the bait.
Okay, so normally, or some of the other bladed jigs, you have the blade striking the outside of the head, while you're reeling and stuff. With ours, it's striking on the inside, which is it's just almost a little bit tighter, and it's just this sound that when you clear the weeds with it, I mean, they hit it so hard. It's like when you have that new bait and you go out and throw it and you just catch a ton of fish on it, and you can tell it's just something a little bit different, and it's just getting tons of bites.
So I have a scent question for you. On a reaction bait like this, and this might be putting you on the spot. How does that scent play in when you're clearing the weeds? That bait's moving pretty fast.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about how scent incorporates into a bladed jig here.
So I think even when you snap it free, and then you get that reaction straight and that fish takes it, you need every second you can to drill them, and get the hook in them. And I think that scent being cooked into the skirt is just giving us that few seconds longer that they're going to hang on to it, and you're going to catch more fish and hook more of them.
So before we get into the partner product for the Slobberknocker bladed jig, I want to put Justin on the spot and ask you. I'm seeing some sneaky little guys throwing a bladed jig without a trailer. What is going on with that? Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that. I saw the swim jig without a trailer thing, and
I saw that too.
You might be talking about the same guy over there, and he might be onto something. I really don't know, But for me, one thing I like being able to thread a trailer on there just to give it a lot of extra weight so you can cast it far. But I don't know, man. I've never thrown a bladed jig without a trailer. Just haven't done it.
As someone who's famous for the swim jig with the Maxent meaty chunk, is that correct?
Yeah.
Have you seen that? Have you tried that yet?
I haven't. I'm a big trailer guy, especially with this power stinger. You're able to, skip it under docks and everything with the skirt tied on and everything. I don't know. I have to go with a trailer. I don't know.
I've seen some very convincing footage and I went out and had to try it myself, and I couldn't get bid on it.
I'll say
So that's
this.
all to say. That's all to say. I will be putting a power bait, Power Stinger, the new trailer from Berkley, on the back of my Slobberknocker vibrating jig.
That sounds great, doesn't it?
That was a mouthful. I kept it all straight, didn't I? A for effort.
That's awesome.
Can you tell us about this new Power Stinger trailer?
Yeah, of course. Number one, it's got power bait in it, so it smells great. It's also offered in HD colors, like you can see right here. And then what I like is how thick that body is. It's got a really nice thick body. You can see right there, hard plastic through there, so it's going to hang on that bait keeper really well. And then, of course, what really makes it unique is this honeycomb pattern that starts halfway down it, and it just gives it a nice action. It's a perfect bait fish shape, and it's what you need on the back of a Slobberknocker. I mean, there's just, what else would you want to put on there, John? Maybe a craw. I'm sure John might throw a few different craws, but this thing's money.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Power Stinger, this thing, I mean, you can just tell, even when with the honeycomb shape, how the tail, how flexible it's able to move. I mean, that thing's going to swim. So, I mean, it's just, they nailed it with this stuff, and I think they really like it, and I think we're going to start seeing a lot of other baits, hopefully, with that same, honeycomb technology.
One thing I thought was pretty interesting is with the honeycomb, it kind of gives it a 360-degree range of motion there, which when you look at your bladed jig, it's moving the hook plane from side to side, and with a lot of traditional one-plane trailers, you're getting a lot of flopping.
Right.
I think this is going to, and now, again, I haven't had time with this. You have.
Right.
I think it's going to have a lot more natural action with the 360-degree range of motion on that honeycomb trailer.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. It definitely swims a lot better with that. It's because the tail's so free. It's almost like having on such a real thin piece of plastic, but then still having that bulky size. So it's really getting a really good swimming action.
Now, one more question here on the Power Stinger before we move on. I couldn't help but notice there's a nice eye and a molded gill there.
Yeah.
Stuff that's going to be hidden by the skirt. Are there more applications besides a bladed jig here for this Power Stinger? Scrounger comes to mind for me.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's, especially with that power bait scent, are the gears turning on some other applications for this?
Well, actually, now that you say scrounger, yeah, it is.
That's what I was like,
I'm like, wow, that might actually be something. But, when we're sitting here looking at it, what I really like is, the eyes are nice. Our colors are great, obviously, especially some of these HDs. But does that make a difference? It's hard to say if it, convinces a bass to bite it or not. Certainly, if you rig that up on a scrounger, that might look really, really good. But what I love is that every single one of them, when you thread it on, is going to be perfectly straight on the bait. They're in these clamshell packages, and that was something we fought for years over here. And I'm so happy that we're doing that now, because I cannot put a what's supposed to be a straight trailer on a vibrating jig, and I cannot stand if that thing is bent. So these are all perfect right out of the package, and that's really important to me.
A host of options, a host of trailers you can fish on the new Slobberknocker. Maybe some great ideas of what else you can do with
John
this new
and I
Power
are gonna be
Stinger.
back there rigging them on the scroungers here in a
Right,
little bit.
I'll be waiting for my check when you guys
You ain't
cash.
getting nothing.
Yeah, I figured. All right, well, folks, that's the new Slobberknocker. Whoa, hey, getting excited. That's the new Slobberknocker bladed jig from Berkley and the Power Stinger trailer. Anything else to say about this, guys, before we move on?
No, Justin nailed it, man. It's an awesome bait, and I got two tied on at all times.
There you go.
I would just say it's only a matter of time until it wins a big tournament.
You can bet on that.
Yeah.
These are both available for pre-order now on tacklewarehouse.com. Let's move on. Up next, we got two new soft baits, one from Berkley Maxent, Powerbait Maxent, and one from Berkley Powerbait. Let's talk about this new Maxent bait first, Justin. Tell us all about this.
So this is the Maxent Lil Super Trooper, and the Trooper was one that we came out with last year. It was just a straight craw bait, no action, It was really just built mainly for a Ned rig or a Ned style head, like the Berkley half head here. But this one has action, and I wish maybe on the B-roll we can go around and show it to you guys. because it's incredible action. I don't know if John, have you played with this thing yet?
Yeah, that is my kid's favorite bait. Like they throw it out on a jig head and reel it in, and they just catch them.
Yeah.
It blows my mind how many
Yeah.
fish that thing catches.
Yeah, so of course it's in max scent. It's got amazing action. We want to show that to you guys in the B-roll. But yeah, this is an awesome bait, and on the back of a jig, a little tiny jig, this thing is going to be like freaking killer, dude. So very cool bait here, and John's got the Shape 108 over there.
Hang on, I'm not done with this one.
Okay, yeah. That
You
is
just
a-
hold your horses,
yeah.
Mr.
I
Cox.
really like that one.
So I fell into the fallacy that I think a lot of anglers do, that Ned baits catch little fish, until I caught one almost 9 on a Ned rig. So tell us when and how this is going to play into your tournament fishing. Not just John's kids reeling the bait in and catching something, catching big, meaningful tournament quality fish.
Yeah, well, I've always just kind of messed with the Ned rig up north, around smallmouth and stuff. But over the last couple of years, actually on the Tennessee River, Chickamauga, and Watts Bar, I've caught several fish on a Ned rig. So, and some nice ones. Even in the spring, I went around and throwing in areas where I knew they were spawning, and typical drop shot, Nico rig. I feel like everybody's throwing it now. Went through and threw a Ned rig and caught a lot of fish and some really nice ones. So this thing, I would have loved to have had this at Watts Bar about a month ago. I was fishing right against the dam, and I caught some nice fish on our just the little general. But this would have been a nice option to throw in there as well, especially warmer water with all the action it's got.
With increased tournament or fishing pressure in general everywhere, you need more tools to put more fish in the boat.
Yeah, I mean, every now and then I like to pick up a spinning rod. I try not to, but every now and then I'll pick a spinning rod up and try and get a couple extra bites.
All right, so that's new from Berkley, the little Super Trooper. It's a max scent bait, so it's got that great scent on it. Up next, we've got the power bait. This is not a max scent bait. This is the standard, tried and true power bait. It's the Shape 108. Tell us about that.
Man, so Shape 108, I had to beg for these through the season because it seemed like every tournament I was catching. One tournament I caught 30-something pounds one day on it, catching them off beds with it, reg Texas rig, and then going into the very next week, end up weighing an 11-pounder at the Harris chain on it, and it's just an awesome bait. It's an awesome jig trailer. What I really found I loved the most with is putting it on a hard head or a swing head and just reeling it nice and slow on the bottom. Catch a ton of fish, and it's got the power bait scent and stuff. And man, I mean, it's just, I went James River and I caught a 9-pounder on it. I mean, that's my biggest fish up north. I mean, it was I thought it was a record. I had to look it up. I was so shocked, and I just caught a lot of really big fish on this year.
That is a northern giant, definitely a shape that plays into everybody's tackle box. A whole different or a whole slew of different applications for this bait, right? I mean, it's not, they're advertising on the front of it, use it on a Ned head, but don't pigeonhole yourself on this particular bait.
No, I mean, this bait, I mean, you're going to be able to do everything with it. That's what's so cool about it. Jig trailer, Ned, put on the back of the Slobberknocker. I mean, it's endless what you can do with this thing. I'm going up to Champlain next week, probably put it on a Carolina rig, catch smallmouth, and it's a fish catcher. You're going to catch a ton of fish on this thing, and it's one of my favorites for sure.
One more thing before we sign off on this one. Shape 108, what is that about?
I have no idea. I think that's what they called it, and then
I actually think I might know the answer.
Forget you. Justin, tell us about it.
So it was a new guy they had, we'll just say his last name is Peterson, and he was working up there at the lab, the science lab or whatever, trying to design a new soft plastic that we were wanting to, a shape that we were asking for. And I think it took him 108 tries to get it right. Wow. And on the 108th try, we all signed off on it, and that's why they came out with Shape 108. Do you believe that story?
Thank you for the information,
I feel like you
Justin.
don't believe that story.
No, I believe it.
You can walk around here and start.
I actually have it on good authority that that's the truth. No thanks to you, John. I was just waiting for an opening to give you a hard time. So that's 2 great new baits available for pre-order now on the site. That's the Berkley Power Bait Max Scent Little Super Trooper, a Ned bait, little tiny guy, 2.5 inches, and the Shape 108 available in 3 and 4 inch.
different
You'll watch John Cox win Champlain,
Maybe, you never know.
probably, on it next week. Guys, thanks so much. Check those out on the site right now.